No, please, don't shoot the messenger. I don't need that kind of heat. And look, I'm just about as sad as that title as you are, but it's something that I've wanted to discuss for some time. The biggest request fans have had of the Mount & Blade series is the addition of some sort of co-op version of the game. Something officially added in by the developers Tailworlds in order to enslave camaraderie with your friends. And look, I completely get it. Why plunder and pillage alone when you can do it with your mates? Whilst Tailworlds have said in the past that it's something that they've thought about and tried to at least implement within the title, I think it's actually fair to say that right now, this is never gonna happen. At least officially. We have the full release of Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord arriving in the next month or so, and with it, whether Tailworlds admit it or not, will be a slowdown in the big content patches. They will fully release the game they want, and with other updates and little fixes here or there, there's not going to be anything that big, or at least in my opinion, coming after the full release. So, if co-op was going to be implemented with the game, surely we would have heard about it already. So why is this? Why aren't we going to get the most requested feature that Mount & Blade has ever had? Or at least an official Tailworlds version. In an exclusive interview with the devs of Mount & Blade that I did at Gamescom last month, I asked them the question that they've been asked many times, and now we actually got a pretty much definite answer, and it's kind of a bit more interesting than I initially thought. You see, Mount & Blade and Bannerlord has its own format. The franchise itself was made popular with this medieval sandbox format. And if we break it down, it goes as follows. You enter the world with your custom character. You start in a city with a few dialogue options and an opening quest. As you do these quests, the mission and the world will pause around you. Once you go into the open sandbox and walk around with your party, the world starts moving with you. But once you enter a city, maybe you do a tournament, the world around you pauses. You run to a village, the world starts again. But once you go inside that village to recruit soldiers, the world pauses. Maybe you run around with this party that you've just recruited, finding someone to attack. The whole world, including all the counts and other parties, the caravans start moving with you. But as soon as you enter that battle, the world pauses again. This isn't just a problem to solve when it comes to making a co-op version. This is actually just the fundamental format of what makes Mount & Blade a Mount & Blade game. Total War works with co-op because it's turn-based, but Mount & Blade is real-time. I mean, with a Total War game, Creative Assembly didn't really have to change the fundamentals of Total War in order to add in a co-op campaign, but you would have to do that with Mount & Blade. But okay, we get it. We're going to have to change the game somewhat. But what are the solutions? Well, the main ones that people have suggested. Maybe having a co-op where your friend just joins your army. You travel around recruiting and they're kind of just watching you. Then when it gets into the battle, they can take control of a character. But if your friend is just tagging along, not really getting to control anything except from when you go into a battle, that's not the Mount & Blade experience. Your friend is almost just a spectator. They can't do diplomacy. They can't marry. They can't own a castle. These are what make Mount & Blade Mount & Blade. So that's not really an option either. So what if everyone gets their own party and every time someone enters a city, it pauses for other players on the map? Well, then we run into another flaw. No one wants to be waiting around while someone explores a city or does a tournament. So then players will stop doing these things. Again, they won't have the full Mount & Blade experience because people will skip tournaments because they don't want their friends waiting, or so on and so forth. So what if we take those things out entirely? It's just the battles. There's no entering cities, no diplomacy, no tournaments, and no real-time world. I mean, I don't think I even need to say it again. That's not Mount & Blade. What I'm trying to say with all this is that in order to introduce a multiplayer or co-op into the Mount & Blade franchise, you essentially have to take out the core parts of what make the game special. The core things that make people fall in love with this single player experience. But sure, some variations have been done in the past, so let's find some real-world examples. Bannerlord Online is an online MMO version of Mount & Blade. It lets players have their own parties, they join other battles and enter villages. That sounds like a co-op Mount & Blade, right? Especially as the world carries on running around them when they go into fights, and other players can recruit parties and build armies as they wish. It's incredibly advanced, and I goddamn love this mod, but it's not really Mount & Blade. It's a very watered down version. It's essentially making money and doing battles. That's what Bannerlord Online is. They take away all the marriage, diplomacy, in-depth army and management, companions, caravans, that sort of thing. It's just not really in there in the same way. It almost feels like a knockoff version of the core Mount & Blade single player experience. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but it's not really Bannerlord co-op. This might sound like all doom and gloom to everybody, and don't get me wrong, I wish there was a solution, and perhaps there is, but unlike Total War, Taleworlds have made it clear that it's unlikely that any sort of co-op will actually come to Bannerlord, because they'd have to completely change the game. At that point, in order to accommodate a co-op version, they might as well just make an entirely fresh title, because that's what it would become. So all hope is lost, right? Well, I'm not so sure. Because whilst Mount & Blade will never get an official co-op, there's chances that we might get a third-party option. I mean, Bannerlord Online is a step in the right direction, but it doesn't quite satisfy that same single-player itch that the base game does. Yet there is a Bannerlord co-op mod that's still in development, and it might just do that. So far, we've been shown very little as in terms of actual gameplay, but what we have been shown is that this does actually start to work. Having two people with two separate parties in a true co-op experience, and I for one cannot wait. What's more is that they're working with other mod developers to include this co-op variation within their modifications, the most notable being the Separatist Crisis Star Wars mod. Imagine being able to travel the galaxy and planets with a friend. This could be that true Bannerlord co-op that we're gonna get. There might be some compromises here, but it could be everything that people have wanted. Yeah, whilst for now, my statement still stands true. Taleworlds will probably never bring us an official co-op. They seem to have put their foot down now and let that question to rest. But who knows? It has happened in the past, modders making something that Taleworlds then adopted themselves. Napoleonic Wars was almost an impossibility within Warband, yet modders made it a full overhaul, adding indestructible terrain and preset classes with bigger servers. Taleworlds saw Mount & Musket and said, we can make an official version of that. And there could be a chance, just maybe, that this could happen with the co-op mod for Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Because at this point in time, that seems like our only hope of getting co-op within the game. But what do you think? Do you think there's still hope of an official Taleworlds version of the co-op mod? From everything we've been told and from the examples that Taleworlds have given us, it's not likely. But I'd love to know your opinion. So leave a comment down below. But leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. But until then, I will see you in the next one.